I just wanted to do a quick video tour of the garden since it has changed somewhat since the last time I did this. This is the small girl's, the girl twins' garden. She has peas, beans, these are bush beans, and back at the back there is a pole bean that she started at school. She has 3 cherry tomatoes, which are coming along very nicely. And then she has her sunflowers, the tallest of which is just about to put up its flower. We have 1, 2, 3 little watermelons, and 2 just now freshly planted romaine bottoms, which we're regrowing. She has a small green pepper plant that even contains an itty-bitty green pepper. She has 2 lovely squash plants here. These are acorn squash. 4 broccolis going here. Okay, the nearest tub that you see to us here is the tire garden. This is the herb garden. And you can see here that we have very lush, beautiful looking, that's not celery, parsley. And then in the back behind it, kind of over that way, is the cilantro. The big green mess in the center is my beautiful and absolutely lush dill, some of which is about to go to head, which makes me very happy. I have some chives. I have quite a chunk of oregano here. And then there are some basil plants that are coming up down here. That tucked in there is our German thyme, which just kind of sat there until like yesterday when it started to go nuts. This here is tarragon, and there's the back side of the cilantro. I'm very pleased. This came out really well. It's been just marvelous. These are my cucumbers and spinach. The cucumbers go down the center, and tomorrow they'll be getting a trellis, which will go up quite high, I'm hoping, on which to grow its lovely fruit. And then down the side, I don't know if you can see, all along, hopefully to be soon shaded, is the spinach. It's kind of wilty right now, but it's surprisingly weed-free, and I'm telling you, these things are growing like nobody's business. It's great. This is our corn bed, or will be after it gets some dirt later this afternoon. It has some clean sawdust and old leaves that were partially composted. It's a wooden frame from some reclaimed wood that I got for free. I was laying along the side of the road. So that's going to have corn planted in it. I am a bit late getting going on the corn, but you know, what can you do? This is a zucchini plant, of which I did not expect much. It was pulled up when I was working on the other ones, and I just stuck it in here, and it's taken off. It's 3 times larger than all the rest of them. These are beets, most of which are starting to round up. They're not ready for picking yet, but they're getting there, and it's very exciting. This will be the first crop of beets that I have ever managed to grow to completion, despite trying almost every year for 20 years. My broccoli is in pretty sad condition, most of it. Get my shadow out of the way. This one's the worst. We had slugs. But, for whatever reason, they seem to be picking more on those ones than on this one, which is finally starting to form a head, just barely. So I'm looking forward to that coming to fruition. There's a little bit more of the basil over here because I needed to get it into some dirt, and so I put it up here. I have a handful of carrots that I'm hoping will come up, and then tucked in down here are 3 pumpkins, which I'm basically going to roll off the side here. and let them grow out of things. Over here are my potatoes. The top part that's growing straight up are Yukon Golds, and the stuff in the bottom are reds. Some of them are doing really, really well, and some of them have been attacked by some kind of queer bug that we don't know what it is. It doesn't look like your standard potato bug, but then again, I'm not an expert, so who knows. My tomatoes are sadly in need of staking, have tons and tons of flowers. There's flowers all around, and it's got quite a bit of fruit coming along too. And there's the other one. Both of these are planted in plastic tubs that had broken during our move. They were no longer good for storing things in because they would have let the water in. But surprisingly, that lets the water come out, which means that you can actually put the plants in it. Some of them didn't have quite enough holes, so I drilled a few drainage holes in the bottom so that they would work effectively. But they seem to be doing really, really well. As you can see, I do have a little bit of weeding that needs to be done, but that's the worst of the weeds. I mean, it takes 5 minutes a day to weed out here. It's crazy. These are my peas. This is my hugelkultur bed. We dug 2 feet down under this bed, and there's all punky birch logs and stuff down there, and they'll decompose and be returned to the earth, and they hold a good amount of moisture, and they attract happy worms, some night crawlers and other such things. And as you can see, the peas are doing marvelous. In fact, they're doing so marvelous that they have started to fall over, and some of them have broken, which is a little upsetting, but they seem to be doing okay. We have had 2 peas. There are more. As I think you can see that one right there. It's right there. But there's a bunch of them on here. But it's not going to be as easy to find them as I had thought. Here are the other zucchini plants. And then there's 3 more tomatoes in there. That's Roma tomatoes. And then these are my beans. And I don't know if you can see the beans on them, but there's a zillion beans on here. By Friday, we're going to have to start eating beans. And we're going to be eating beans. And more beans. And probably more beans. So that's my garden. I'm pretty happy with it. It's not huge. There's another bed just like this one that will go in behind it. Probably for next year. I'll put it together this year, but we probably won't get used. And then this section I hope to fill up with more tires. These actually get moved around. Earlier today, they were there, but we decided that bed belonged where it is. So these got moved over here, and they actually seem to really like having the more sun, and they've been quite peaky today. They've been happy. And I can't believe just the sheer amount. Oh, I have cabbage. There's my cabbage, and I'm forming, it's actually forming heads, so I'm happy with that. But the gardens are very fruitful, very low on weeds. I mean, there are some, but it's really been minimal, and I've been really pleased. Over here, eventually this spot right here will become a raised asparagus bed, but I didn't get asparagus this year, so it didn't happen. But I did stick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tomato plants in here. There's at least 1 Roma, at least 2 cherries, and at least 1 beefsteak, and I don't know which ones are which. But they started out as little wee ones I sprouted myself indoors. And they're actually finally starting to look like real tomatoes. This is my rhubarb, which was the one perennial that I got in, and it's now starting to die back because of the heat. It's been so hot, and they don't do well in the heat. But it did make little babies, which made me very happy, and it's doing pretty well as well. So, there you have the tiny homestead.